Orange one.
The one that just got a right ear piercing.
He did just get a right ear piercing.
Yeah, poor guy.
Poor guy.
We're
Actually,
on.
there's never a good. You know what? Whether you agree or disagree. Hello.
Hi.
Good afternoon, folks,
Hello.
wherever you are.
We're going to start the podcast today by saying whether you agree or disagree with anything about politics. It's bad when people try to kill people.
It's not great. No, I mean, violence. It should never come to violence.
It
in
should
politics,
never. I mean, what kind of a moron would do that?
I don't know, but don't give them the time of day.
Yeah, that's the key. Don't talk about them. They're behind us.
The thing is like he was 20 years old, right?
So he's been brainwashed.
When you go through your
something.
teenage years into your early 20s, there's a lot of hormones and bad ideas that go through your head. Don't make irreversible decisions in your teen and early 20 years. That's the message I'm sending to my future daughters, and I hope it pays off.
And let's face it, his is definitely irreversible because he gone.
He done. Yeah.
So bad, so stupid.
Yeah. He's there's
So gross.
other things that are operating there, I think, and
Yeah.
he's probably been convinced that somehow that that's a good thing that he does.
Yeah, that's terrible.
I would love to know more, but I also don't want to know more.
I don't
You know what I
wanna know
mean?
more.
Like, because I'd like to know like his thought process because he follows that same party. He's like a supporter of that party, and for him to like take and step like this to totally disrupt the entire momentum that the Republican Party has right now seems counterintuitive to the end goal.
Or did he believe so much that he wanted to give Trump something and he really was a good shot?
I don't. I mean, I'll
It's
send
all
you a few
gross.
videos I've been watching, but it is just luck that guy is still with
But
us.
you just can't be shooting people, man.
You just can't do that. Don't do that.
President, not president, running, not running.
In fact, let's
It's
just
wrong.
not kill each other, period.
Let's just try this.
I just hope
Let's
all
try
of them, I
this.
just hope the entire world hears me and we can stop killing each other.
Why could we not try this?
I mean,
Try what?
Not killing each other. Wouldn't that be something? There's a unique thing. How about that's the campaign?
Yeah.
Not kill each other for president.
Did you see some of that stuff I had in the file?
The women, the time for women.
They don't do that.
No,
sort of
women
thing.
don't. No, my dad has been putting together a file, in which we'll talk about that in a podcast in a few weeks. But I've been slowly looking at it, and it's basically a time for women, and it's all these different powerful women and how women, in essence, it is time for women, right? And it could be time for a woman president.
Yes.
I would love to see that.
Yeah, I think that I think that women get a bad rap in that we are not strong decision makers, when in fact, you have said this multiple times, Mark is the one that takes care of the finances and things like that of the family, but as far as organizing the family and directing the family and keeping the emotional status and the well-being of the family so that all these people can do their parts, is strongly, not all, because there are plenty of families out there that have two dads, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not saying
Or
that's
more.
bad, because I think that's great, but the time for women research that he's been doing is about women holding on to and really becoming more powerful. I'm not talking about the Nancy Pelosi's of the world or any of that junk either, because
I think emotional intelligence is
Emotional
more necessary than it's ever been before.
I
And
would
whether
agree
it
with
comes from
that.
female or male, I don't really care as long as it's like within the conversation.
yeah.
And it feels like there was a time in these past generations where you would just bury your feelings and go forward because that's what you had to do.
Especially if you were a dude, because you were told to.
Yeah, it turns out maybe there's some long-term ramifications from those decisions.
Yeah, that's a possibility.
Yeah. Oh.
We just
We just,
Right.
we just totally shanked.
totally didn't shank. That's another thing. No
Yeah.
shanking.
We
hijacked.
We hijacked is the
You
word I'm looking
hijacked,
for.
yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the Ivan Files,
I was
not the
gonna-
Shelby and Kelly's show.
Yeah, I was gonna say something, which I probably forgot, but, what is more important, say, than having a president woman, is to have the predominant, gender in the Congress and the Senate women, because those are the people that make the money decisions, they
Yeah, they
make
do.
the
They
power
move the world.
decisions and stuff like that. So that's the people that we really need to, vote for women. That's
But what about the
sure.
concept, Dad, of changing your piece of the world? If everyone changes their small piece of the world,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
Like, for example, you are doing something that is not comfortable for you, but is healthy for your family, which is your part of the world. And you will become more comfortable with that as you do that. And that is, taking more time, doing things, being gone in a time that's our busiest season. But that's okay. You say, I'm out, I'm gone, I can't work. Somebody else will do it, right?
Yeah.
So, but who is doing that? Your wife, she's pushing that, she's putting that together because she knows what's best for her pod. So she's changing the world by changing those two women that you guys are growing. It's true.
Yeah.
She is. She's teaching these women that family is way more important than missing an auction or being here or doing that. And
Those are taboo words.
they are, but
Yeah.
she's changing her world. We're changing our small world. You can't, you have to change your world. If everybody does that,
it will change.
the world will change.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
we're so worried about everybody else's crap. Like,
Yeah. Like I'm worried about checking the mail for the next 3 weeks, which we literally do, which literally takes 10 minutes
Yeah.
twice a week.
which literally is also protected by the federal government if we don't get it. So, if we're gone
So
for
what
3
you're
weeks.
saying is the fear is the hallucination.
Yeah.
That's what you're telling me.
So, and if they can't keep our mail, it's just changing the world. Having my parents move in with us, that is changing the world because it's
Yeah.
showing my children that that's what you do, right? So that's changing the world.
Yeah.
Yeah, it used to be the case.
And it used to be the case, but it's not today.
Home has wheels, will travel.
Home has wheels. We have. Yes, it does.
Yeah, yeah.
So what do you want to talk about? Because we're going to talk about what we want to talk about after you say what you're going to talk about.
Yeah. Well, you partly hit it, which is, what about this business of blowing away or attempting to assassinate one of the people running for president? And you've already talked to some about that.
Does that young gentleman not feel heard and that's why he did that? Or has he been
I think there's been more than that.
more than that? He's been either
Pushed in that direction.
pushed in that direction or has seen things. I don't know what would make
Made to
somebody
believe that,
even think that was okay.
Yeah.
No matter if you agree or disagree with Trump or
Yeah.
Biden or
Well, I
any
mean,
of that crap.
I don't think I'm very political. I try to stay out of it, but
Got
I like
to.
to know enough to be dangerous and know current topics. And I've heard people say in mixed company behind closed doors, if he just went away, that would be great, right? I've said that, and
Right.
I'm not one that's super politically charged,
Right.
so I can imagine things like that could have been shared to people that this individual looked up to.
yeah.
In
Yeah.
his world,
Yeah.
and if he heard that, he could have taken it literally and run with it.
Yeah.
For the most part, when I hear something like that stated, it feels more of a
When you say go away, you don't mean
frustration. I just wish it would go away.
yeah. You don't mean dead go
you
away.
don't
You just
actually
mean go
mean
away.
it. You just mean
Yeah. Right.
So
Yeah.
maybe that's something that he
It could
interpreted
be.
correctly.
Yeah, be careful what we say.
Yeah.
What's happened though is this guy tries to take a leader within the political world off the table, and what it will do is it will supercharge that individual's campaign.
Right.
I now think there is no
Oh,
possibility that Trump is not elected our next
Sympathy vote.
president.
I would
Yeah.
agree.
I think you looked at some of the rhetoric from the Republican National Convention a couple days ago, and they are doubling down on him being sent
wants him
from
here.
God, and that is something that the evangelicals and anybody slightly religious could gobble up. I don't think there's any way he's not getting elected now.
Yeah.
He's got the sympathy card.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, God in heaven.
Which I mean, it's a serious matter. I don't mean to belittle the fact that someone took shots at the guy.
No.
But that's what's going to happen. It's
Yeah.
going to supercharge his ticket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Sympathy.
You think? Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see what he
Yeah.
comes out and says, because I hear he's coming out with something that could tie people together. We'll see.
So-
I've always said that if he came out and said, you know, like all the crimes that he's been convicted of, right? If he came out and said, you know what, I screwed up, I'm sorry, I'm a better man, I've learned, I I know what it takes to run the country, I care about this country, I love the people of this country, people would fold and they would vote for him.
But I think that's what's happening.
That is what's
Yeah,
happening
That's
now.
what he's doing. Like
Yeah.
people are calling this guy Trump 2.0 because he's not coming out and saying outlandish, ridiculous things
Mm-hmm.
that are getting news bites. He's now coming out much more presidential than he's ever been.
Yeah.
And now he just has to play the political game, not say crazy stuff, and he's a shoo-in.
Yeah.
Because the other guy's falling apart. He can't even
is.
string together a sentence.
Ugh.
You know, one thing that I saw that really like made me realize that it's over for the Democrats this election was there was a comedian. He was a black man, African American, whoever you choose to label him, but he basically said, "Look, Trump's a convicted felon, and now he's taking shots. He's one of us." And all jokes aside, like if he can like reinvigorate that base, which I think has come out against Trump
Yeah.
very strongly, because let's face it, he said some pretty racist stuff over the past.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, if there's any truth to that comedian saying that, haha, it's funny. But like, if there's any truth to that, and that sways that demographic of voters, there's no way.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah.
What should get mixed in with this is the way of democracy, which is not to shoot everybody, but
Right.
to vote and to remind people that this, after all, is supposed to be a democracy, and we change things by voting and not by shooting.
Right.
And not everybody believes that. If you don't get what you want, you go shoot them. Well, no, that's not it. You wait for another election and do some kind of stuff to
And-
get that in there. See?
Yeah, and you're not going to, in any contest, you're not always going to get the person that you're rooting for to win. That being said, one thing my husband and I have always done, even when Trump was president the first time, we will never, just because he's the leader of the free world when he is our president, right? And we will never not respect the position of president.
That's it. See,
Yeah.
that's what we got to do.
The position of president. Forget Trump, forget Biden, forget Obama, forget Clinton, forget all of that.
Yeah.
The position of president should always be respected, and we should be mindful of that.
And that's true of the whole Congress, the Senate and the other one, the other house, the House of Representatives.
Yeah.
You got to respect those people when they've been voted in. Say, oh, now they're voted in. Don't always agree with it, but they're there for now, and
And the majority voted them in.
yeah.
And in a democracy, the majority is who,
Well,
Rules.
I mean, in the beautiful US of A, we live on a very thin margin between two parties,
We
right?
do.
I mean, we're talking 53% wins the election and the other 47 doesn't. Like, it's always been thin margins.
I'm
in our
guessing that's
country.
going to
And they
change.
call it a landslide. yeah.
Maybe.
Gonna probably
I
do a
mean,
little bit of this.
yeah, who knows?
Yeah.
I
Anyway, it'll
remember-
be what it'll be.
My history teacher in high school, I don't remember who was president at that time. I could tell you if I ran the numbers, but I remember it was the
You do
inauguration.
not remember who the
of
president
next-
of the United States was when you were in high
It
school?
was somebody, right? It was probably the move from
It would be Clinton,
Clinton
probably.
to Bush.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have
Yeah.
been it. So we're watching it live, and he goes, "Now look at this," and you watch like him get sworn in, and he says, "Now, what just happened is you saw a transition of power peacefully from one leader to the other, and that's what makes democracy great." And I think you have to respect the position no matter whom holds it.
Right.
Now, if you decide that you don't need to be elected into that position, there's going to be a little bit of an issue. I'm just going to posit that right here.
Yeah.
You bet.
But when Trump is inevitably elected this next election, more power to you.
Yeah.
Like, we're gonna stand behind you. We love our country more than we
love our
dislike
country more than we
candidates.
like or dislike you
Yes.
Yeah.
as a
Yeah.
person.
That's right.
You know,
Yeah.
and I think that, you know, the people that are afraid of it, maybe we need to get a little more educated about what truly his power is. And because I have found myself looking more at his mouth and what he's been saying that's awful than I have actually what he has done presidentially.
It's
Yeah.
easy to
And,
do.
and
yeah.
as a white woman that is not poor, whether he's elected or not, it really doesn't.
My father-in-law has said this for years, but he based it, his whole like thought process was, no matter who's in office, what does that actually change for your world?
Yeah.
Like, what actually affects your bubble?
Yeah.
And
I had a friend that told us
very
that.
little.
Very little.
Very little.
Very little. But I love our whole country, and it could change the world for some of the people in our country that are already weak.
Yeah.
And that scares me for them.
Yeah.
So, and that's another part of being a good community member. Again, change the world your piece at a time. So if during this next transition, we end up having the need for more people to receive help, call Stokes Auction Group.
Yeah.
We'll put on a fundraiser.
Where's your t-shirt? Where's the t-shirt? Let me get the t-shirt.
If you're struggling, call
Let me
Stokes Auction
shift
Group.
gears a little bit
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll shift you back.
One thing that we have been discussing is ether.
Mm-hmm.
And remember what a subquantum kinetics is?
Okay. Subquantum kinetics. We discussed that a little bit in the
Uh-huh.
past. Yep.
You remember what it is?
On a microscopic level, the movement of energy from one thing to another.
Well, where do you take it?
Over time and space, correct?
Well-
Subquantum kinetics.
Subquantum kinetics.
Ant-Man.
Huh? That was supposedly brought up by this Paul
Lavietta.
Lavietta. Yeah, thank you. And
Hang out with him, man. It grows on you.
the thing about that is nobody can measure it or see it or
Mhm.
anything. See, so how do you believe it? Well, it fits in some slots that weren't probably fit as well. So before, so which came to the Einstein maybe incorrect about something like that. You know. So that's all right. So you remember what the subquantum kinetics is. It's also the continuous creation. The continuous creation, the subquantum kinetics, because everything else has the Big Bang, and maybe a lot of little bangs too, all of that. They don't really know that.
Everybody likes a little one.
Answer, yeah, and they've, some of the magazines that come out say, well, there's not only a black hole at the center of the
Mhm.
Galaxy, but there's little black holes almost everywhere, and so that leaves something to look at. But subquantum kinetics as energy that, as you say, is in constant creation.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Why is that not more spoke about in
Well,
like the ethers and the things like that? Why is that not more prominent in your science magazines or in the research that you do?
well, because they can't measure it.
They can't measure it and they can't prove it.
They can't prove it. They mathematically show it, and
They can't prove God.
Einstein too was mathematically
Mhm.
show it. He had to find a guy that could do the math on it, and that was that guy. That could do the math.
I would imagine it's more cutting edge,
Yeah.
right? Sub-quantum kinetics is a much more like forward-thinking technology than like the existence of ethers that has been tread very many
Yeah.
times over the course of humanity.
But it all happens in ether.
Mm.
And yeah, we have to develop the ideas around the ethers and the various ethers. Mostly it's just the ether and one ether. But, then we get off into the angels and all that
Right,
sort of stuff. But in order to deal with a new physics, which is what Paul,
Lafayette.
uh-huh, and this our friend who his father was a physicist, and he was working on it as well, and he was going to, he had one pamphlet about it, and that's how flying saucers flew. But he was going to write a bunch of other stuff, and he never got to that,
Yeah. Yeah, I think like quantum is such a big thing in technology right now is because really what humanity wants to crack is quantum computing, right?
Yeah.
And quantum computing has to do with like multiple states of one object. So right now all technology in the known world is based on ones and zeros. So like the electricity is either passing through a gate or not passing through a gate. Is the number greater than 5, then it goes through. If it's not, it goes the other way.
Yeah.
All the programs that we use come back to like it's either on or it's off. What the quantum computing will do is it'll allow this one thing to be multiple things. So it's not just 1 or 0, it's A, B, C, or D.
Why has that not been more with as fast as technology has gone? I mean, back when my grandmother was alive, and she's been gone a while now, I think '03 is when we lost her. So 21 years, she remembers, he even remembers 3-holers, right?
Right.
And then hundreds of years before that, no, nothing. And
Right.
then now all of a sudden, boom, everything. And now, why can that not be proven if you're talking about something like that?
Time will do it.
Yeah.
First of all, one of those gentlemen made the statement that new science has to wait for old scientists to pass on. And so that they can then,
Interesting.
go ahead with it without being, oh, well, that's stupid, you don't want to do that, And so, and that's
Much like
about where
politics.
it is, yeah,
Much like politics.
yeah.
Well, and I think like as they continue to study quantum, what they're finding is like you can prove that quantum exists. We just don't know enough about it to like operate in that realm quite yet. And you probably know the study, but I've seen it explained before where they had like a slit of paper at the end of the room, and they fired photons at it. Have you seen this?
Uh-huh.
So they fire photons at it, and then when they go to look where the photons land, some land right where it's directed, but also there's particles that landed on each side of it in the same pattern.
Yeah.
Kind of proving that these photons are moving in different directions as
Individually.
they're being shot. Yeah.
Yeah, they can be in two places at once.
Exactly. Yes.
And yeah, that's part of the science of all that.
So
stuff.
that experiment kind of proves that quantum does exist, but we don't know how to incorporate it. Is
Yeah.
how I understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't understand it very well, but
Well,
Yeah,
you know
no,
what,
I mean,
yeah.
I'll maybe bring some of that. I've got some stuff about that, but it's and the thing that comes up too is that do some people, do some scientists already know about that? And if so, are they doing things like making aircraft, like B-2 bombers, that use this stuff, and that's the anti-gravity thing is there. So and it said that I don't know who said it. Some people said it, but that there is that being worked on, and it functions. And then there's people who write books about, oh, they've already got it, and they go to Mars and back, with a flick of the hat and something like that. And so, a lot of that stuff gets in people's minds, but there's not much behind it
Right.
that's out there right now. You go to a physics class, and nobody ever heard of some quantum kinetics, and they don't know about that. But it's hard for them to change their textbooks so that people can get a leg up
Yeah.
on the research and a leg up on the experimentation, and but it's going to come along.
Yeah.
But
I wonder what would happen if you put into AI what is subquantum physics.
It would come out with something.
It would.
It would. It would give you a write up on it.
Good point.
I mean, the AI is pretty insane. I think the weird part now, and you kind of mentioned it with like maybe there's a scientist out there that's already like cracked this code. The problem with society right now is there's so much noise in terms of like taking our attention that it's hard to know what to believe and what not to, one, but also where to focus.
Yeah.
So like there could be a scientist out there in the world screaming at the top of the lungs, I figured it out, and no one's like
Why
paying
isn't
attention.
anybody listening to me?
And it may be one of those situations where, I mean, there's multiple scientists who have died, and then their research doesn't become universally accepted until after their death.
Like Tesla.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then who was the guy that came out against the religion? Was it Newton? That was like,
Against religion.
it was kind of like, he was the one that stated that the sun was the center of the universe, not the earth. And then the religious entities said, no, the earth's the center of the universe. And then later he was proven right. Was that Galileo?
That could be,
Okay. I guess my point is like, sometimes you're a generation removed from the smartest minds around you until their research truly comes
But
out.
I like your point about too much noise to actually there might be too much noise for us also to accept new ideas. I think that has been I tell you, I haven't been on social media in a couple weeks now.
And do you miss it?
I feel way better away from it. I feel
You
way
get a chance to
calmer.
think.
You get a chance to think. If you're thinking about somebody, you can reach out to them. It is a different feeling being away from it. It really is. It's odd. I wouldn't have guessed that. But, I've been trying something. I told you about that. And, the noise. That's what it is it's a constant noise. And it doesn't allow you to have your own thought process without having it being infiltrated on a secondly basis when you're watching that. Because, you can research something. I'll give an example. Mark and I were looking to buy trailers. You remember when we were looking to buy a trailer? So he says, do the research on the trailer. So I did. So I would pull up on, and this isn't social media, but it's information, which is also just as much noise, right? So you compare this trailer to that trailer, and you read these reviews and that reviews, and then you go back and then you say, okay, they say this is the better trailer, so then you Google that trailer. Then you get all these reviews on this trailer that it's just too much noise. Pick your poison and move forward with it if you like it or learn more about it, and then move forward, but don't be so afraid to switch your path either if something's better that fits you.
You want to set up your priorities when you do that.
Yeah.
So that you don't get a flood of information coming at you. But you sort out so that the priority that you have emerges
Yeah.
as the one you want. Yeah.
I don't miss social media
Yeah.
because what it does for you is it makes you feel like there is a thought for people that they're living life by posting it out there and showing the world what they're doing. And then they're looking for approval from people. And so I got into this circle where, okay, I put up our reel from all of our auctions, and I'm not saying I won't do that again, right? Because I want to share it with our clients.
Right.
But you look at how many likes did you get? How many people liked what I put out there? It shouldn't matter.
So I know I'm on my phone right now, but I heard something the other day that I really want, that I think fits here. And it was a quote by Peter Thiel, and I think I found it. Here we go. You always realize that you're caught up in all these crazy dynamics. There are these bad cycles of intimidation, status games that you get wrapped up in. The 10 Commandments, the two most important, are the first and the last of the list. The first commandment is you should worship God. The 10th commandment is you should covet.
Thou shalt not covet.
Thou shalt not covet the things beyond your neighbor, that belong to your neighbor.
Yeah.
In some ways, the first commandment is to look up, and the 10th is you do not look around. And if you're too much focused horizontally on all other people around you, that's sort of bad version you get caught up in.
That's right.
Which
Coveting is
crazy.
very, yeah.
I mean, he's quoting the 10 Commandments
Yeah.
and basically saying, look up and look down is the first and the last, and everything else is don't look at thy neighbor. And you get on social media,
That's
and
all
that's
it is.
all it is. Is like, what are they doing? Oh, they're going on vacation. Oh, they're out
Must be
in the sunshine.
nice.
Must be nice, right?
Yeah.
So I found that really interesting. Sorry for slaughtering Peter Thiel's quote, but
No, that's all right. You did good.
Yeah.
close enough.
Yeah.
But, it kind of speaks to your stuff, too, about with that, social media is such a part now of the world. You have no idea about social media because you don't do any of it, right? You just research.
Yeah.
But it doesn't allow your new scientists to put those ideas, to really research the subquantum stuff, right? Because there's all this other noise out there that says, no, 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 don't listen to this,
Yeah,
don't listen to
right.
that guy, he's crazy, or that gal, they're crazy, that idea can't work. Why can't all ideas work?
The universities, they're not picking it up very much. I don't think.
I would
You
imagine
know?
not, because then
Yeah.
they would have to replace their curriculum, which through their mindset would cost them money.
Yeah.
And they're there to make money. They're not there to educate students.
Well-
College universities are money-making sons of a guns, you
Right.
know?
Oh,
So, yeah, so they're not there to educate the people. I mean, they are, but that's their second or third vision.
Right.
You know, so that noise, that social media, those things like that could stop these future scientists, if we're not careful, from having those ideas birth.
And then there's the paranoid type idea that the government and so on are liking it that way. They want to keep people kind of,
Angry?
well, ignorant of some of
No.
this stuff that they are finding or are working with. But, I watch Ancient Aliens, and some of that stuff is pretty good. Other stuff is kind of baloney, you
Yeah.
know. But you got to sort it out again. It's like, it's like, did they always have it a long time ago? Well, I don't know about that. But I do know that some of the current stuff they run into might be of value to us to understand.
Well, I think that's because what we've done is we've taught them this is what it is.
Yeah.
This is what we've done in schools. This is what it is. 1 + 1 is 2. What if you get a student that says, is it? Right? You know what I'm saying? I'm
No, it
using this
is.
simple. It is, but what I'm saying is the idea to question science is not cultivated.
Well, it should be. It should be. And
It's just pushed down their throats.
I think,
I'm not talking about primary education. I'm talking about college.
like Scientific American is trying to, not to try to sell a magazine, but is trying to get a better journalism, better science journalism, so that the transmission of information is better. And I'm not sure what all that means, but that would be better. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the
And it didn't mean,
magazine gets thicker.
yeah, and yes, obviously 1 + 1 is 2, but what if a kid wants to say, 4 halves is 2 instead, right? I mean, that's my,
like the beauty of science is like it's based on universally proving with evidence that things are said to be true.
Yeah.
And you can prove
But
time
allow
and time
people to bring
again
it.
that 1 and 1 is 2.
yeah,
So I think like as long as they're understanding the concepts of like a hypothesis and then proving with evidence, so everyone can agree on what the science is, that's what they need to learn.
Right.
Now I could talk for hours on how I think schooling is going to have to change very rapidly to keep up with the changing world that we live in right now. Like, how beneficial is it to be learning some of this stuff? We talked to a teacher the other day from Saudi Arabia. She's back for the summer, and I was talking with her. They're teaching their kids cursive. Like, they're submitting handwritten essays, and it's like, how will that have a one-to-one translation to their future? Like stuff like that really makes me question if all the schooling is really necessary.
yeah,
And what should we be focusing on? And it remains to be seen, because
It
if the
does.
answer was there, we'd all be doing it.
right,
Yeah.
right,
So,
yeah.
Well, yeah, there's all kinds of politics mixed in with teaching too. Yeah.
Awesome.
So
Well, I think we hijacked you a couple times today, but
Yeah,
it was
we
a
did.
fun podcast.
hope you enjoyed it as much as we did.
Yeah, we had fun.
yeah,
Yeah.
I did.
So we're not going to have a podcast for a couple weeks. So give your people out there a thought for the next couple weeks, because Shelby's going to take off and do some family stuff.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah, how about that?
You and me might do one.
A number one important. Yeah, we could do one.
Yeah, we'll do one.
There is some stuff that I need to clarify that we've been talking about over the mini podcast. I don't know which number is this.
Probably
Anybody
60,
know?
70, maybe
I think it's 40 something.
40 something.
I'm not sure. We kind of left the conventional numbering of items in the rearview mirror, it feels like.
Yeah.
I could look it up afterwards. I can see how many videos we've posted.
And we could begin the podcast by saying this is number of
Yeah.
the podcast and welcome to, and so they would have a sense of how much this has gone on. So
Well, you've been here 2 years in August.
yeah, the
Time flies when you're
I
having fun.
also ran across another book.
Yay.
I always running across books.
You are.
know. And it's called Saint, the Life of Saint, Issa, ISSA, who this guy is written about. Now, I've been introduced this by Reverend Ronald.
Mm-hmm. Reverend Ronald Fraser. That's my uncle.
And somebody introduced him to that. And so, this pipeline continues to operate, you get stuff. Anyway, it has to do with, the Gospels talk about Jesus like from age 12, something like that, to 29. It's that space in there that he was in India a lot, and he studied a lot of this stuff. Well, I don't know if that's true or not, but I got the little book about like that, so I'll check that out. And
Nice.
also, another one was You know, we've been taught for a while that we have two sides of our brain.
Mhm.
There's the more
Art.
well,
Creative.
there's the art and yeah, picture side and all of that, and then there's the other one that'd be more mathematical and all that sort of stuff.
Mhm.
Anyway, two sides, and a couple of authors have gone to great lengths to talk about that, and their stuff is taught in in school as having taught psychology. That's true. Well, uh, this guy that wrote two of the books, at least, of about Enoch and the magic of all that, and what the hell was I talking
91.
about? Uh,
Izza.
is there? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and this other thing was that supposedly the University of Utah has done some research. Somebody's done some research there and says that's not true. There are not two sides of the brain, that sort of thing. And so I say, well, I'm going to check. I want to
Check
check
it out.
very thoroughly the method of investigation, how they experimentally decided that, and so on, and see if that's if it's true, and if it's not, I'm gonna,
Interesting.
Awesome. Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
So anyway, folks, we will see you next whenever we do
Till
it again.
next
Next
time.
time.
Yeah, tune in to the
Ivan Files.
Ivan Files on YouTube.
Good job, Dad.